Okay. What kind of miniature wargamer are you? You don't know? Flying Lead, the miniatures game of Guns, Guts, and Glory by Rich Jones and Andreas Filigoy. You know that name. It's based on the Song of Blades engine. That's right. We're taking a Song of Blades and Heroes into the modern world. And look at this. I like this art. He looks like kind of Sons of Anarchy, right? It's got all kinds of wonderful little army lists for everything from, well, Hedgerows and Heroes. That would be your WWII. Black Hawk Down. What else we got? We got the Somali Militia. We got something called the Goori, which is kind of a, what was Stargate? Generic crooks. We've got cops, civilians, pulp characters with guys like Great White Hunters, Pygmy Chiefs, all kinds of stuff. Vigilantes, vehicles. There's gangsters. There's terrorist cells. Although remember, one man's terrorist is another man's patriot. Here's the A Squad. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Now, this might be wildly inappropriate. You might want to send your kids out of the room for this video because we are going to do a modern-day American Civil War, and I tried to come up with the most utterly ridiculous premise for an American Civil War. So we're going to posit that the deep state has successfully assassinated a major leading, wildly popular presidential candidate. Now, they think that the American people are dumb enough to believe that an 18-year-old kid can penetrate multiple layers of security without help from the inside. Can you imagine and of course, the supporters of the leading candidate are rather upset by this, and they hold peaceful protests, which the deep state cracks down on. For example, they're unauthorized tourists in the Capitol building, and they get sentenced to long prison sentences. They get bashed on the head, and they get accused of all kinds of nasty stuff. I mean, just utterly the kind of stuff you just can't make up because it's so ridiculous. And things escalate, and now as we open our the action of our little game here, we've got on the left, we've got the forces of the creep state. We've got two beat cops who have just arrested an innocent bystander. They are, let's see, quality 4, combat 2. They have a pistol, and we'll talk now. Those of you that have never seen Flying Lead, that are very familiar with A Song of Blades and Heroes, just bear with me, we'll get to it. He's got a pistol, short range. They have handcuffs. And their goal is going to be to get this innocent bystander into their squad car and off the table. They are assisted by a SWAT sniper, quality 3, combat 3. He's got a semi-automatic rifle. He has body armor. He's a crack shot, and he has personal communications. He will act as a leader, able to give commands to this squad of SWAT troopers who are going to start the game kind of off board or right at the edge of the board. They all have quality 3, combat 2. They have assault rifles, body armors, and comm. The body armor means if they lose a combat by 1, it counts as a tie. Over here on the right-hand side of your table, you see the guy here with the red hat. Why don't you... Oh, wait. What? He looks like the guy from Apocalypse Now, doesn't he? He is the Patriot leader. He is quality 3, combat 2. He has a machine pistol. That is short range, does auto fire. He's a fanatic and a leader. Now, fanatic basically gives them a +1 to their quality while they're making morale checks. The 7 Patriots backing him up are quality 4, combat 2. They all have assault rifles, which has a long range, combat +2, select fire. They can fire and move. And like I said, these guys are all fanatics. They also have a +1 to their combat score. So I don't know if that's been factored into their profile or not. Anywho, these guys are only worth 514 points compared to 542 for the Creep State's Enforcers. So to make up the balance, I'm giving the Patriots Blitzkrieg, which means they have a +1 to activate, but only on the first turn. Let's take a look at the terrain. Oh, right, and so they are trying to free their buddy here in the leather jacket. If they can bust him loose and get him off the table, then they win. Somewhere in middle suburbia, we've got little hedges that are obfuscating terrain. Costs like an action to get over them. One little woods down here. All the trees are individual locations. They do provide cover. They do block line of sight. Of course, Taco Bell. We got the 7-Eleven. We got a diner over here. As the action starts, our 2 uniformed police officers parked over here, snuck around into the back of the diner. They got a hot tip from the NSA that one of the few remaining patriots in the country was having some biscuits and gravy. SWAT scrambled. They've got a sniper up here on the roof of Taco Bell. Notice there's a 2-man team. It just counts as one figure. Don't worry about it. The one thing we'll say is he doesn't have any visibility in this direction unless he stands up, in which case he gives up cover to anybody from this side. He has sight lines something like this, so he can see all of the action in the center of the table. Now, there is a black SUV back here. As the arrest was being made, SWAT team came up for backup. They have not bailed out of their vehicle yet. Let's take a little close-up look at those guys. Here you can see it just a little bit better. It's going to cost them an action to get out of that SUV, and that's going to slow things down. The forces of law and order, I guess we'll call them, are going to have, they're not going to have an easy road here. And there's your Taco Bell. Our patriots are going to be coming out of these houses over here on this side of the table. The patriots don't start here standing around in the center of the intersection. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a white die for each of their activations. And if it comes up a 1 or a 2, they'll come out of this house on a 3 or a 4, on a 5 or a 6. Front door in each case. Because they have the +1 to activate, I'm going to give them each 2 chances to activate. Our leader has a quality 3, meaning he needs a 3 up. Oh, he only needs a 2 up to activate. So let's see where he comes from. So with a 6 and a 3, he's going to get to take 2 actions. And this is our little measuring gauge. See? Short, medium, and long. You can move medium. Because he is coming out of this door here, I'm going to send him, let's see, where is that door? It's right in the center. There's 1 and 2. He's going to be able to race right over to here. Now, he's not in cover, but nobody's got line of sight on him. The other 7 guys have a quality of 4, meaning I need 3s to activate. And if I don't get at least a single 3 on the black dice, then the guy's not going to appear. So it doesn't matter. They all have the same ability. So that one's going to come out here. If I get 4s and 5s, so here we get another guy comes out of this blue house. With a 6, he gets 1 activation. So this guy, since he only gets 1 activation, I'm going to set him up over here. And remember, we want to take that guy alive. We want to rescue him alive. So we get 2 activations coming out of this house. Again, we'll bring, let's see, I'm tempted to go medium to there and medium to here. I'm going to bring this guy over to here. I want to try to get somebody into those woods. Then the next guy is going to get 2 activations. So with 2 activations, we'll measure from the center door. So we can go from there to there, and we got somebody backing up our leader. And with a 1, 2, and a 3, we get 1 activation, and that's our 3rd guy coming out of here. Let's bring him over right along the porch. He's going to come to there. I don't know if you can see him. Yeah, he's going to be right along the hedge. Let me use a tall guy so you can see him a little bit better. Those guys that's not kneeling down, okay? Patriots don't kneel. But they do take up position. So with a 4 and a 3, that's another guy coming out of here. So we'll set up a fire team right there, I guess. And then for the last guy, he gets a single activation. I didn't see where that was. So 3, he's going to come out of this door too. And let's, with a medium, I'm going to send him... Now, you can vault the hedge if you want to. I'm going to put him behind this tree right here. But if you do vault that hedge, you don't move medium, you only move short. So that's the penalty. And that's going to be it for the Patriots movement on turn number 1. Now we go to the forcers of the creep state. Now, these guys have a serious difficulty with the activation. He counts as a leader. Now, he doesn't have the leader ability. He's just basically the spotter. So we're going to allow him to serve as a leader for issuing commands. And that's important because in Song of Blades and Heroes and Flying Lead, your leader can issue an order, and that allows you to keep groups together. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. He's going to try to make 2 activations. And he has a quality of 3. So that's the end of the turn for the coppers. My intention was to issue these guys an order to get them out of their truck and get them moving. But rolls like that aren't going to get it done. The Patriot leader can issue those orders, except it's got a range of medium, and the only guy that is within medium range is this guy right here. So it doesn't do him a whole lot of good. Instead, leader's going to try to take two actions. He gets a 4 and a 1, so he's only got one action. He's going to move right up to this post and take cover. Now, in order to ensure that we have the possibility of activating everybody on the table, we're only going to try to take one activation. Each of the red hat figures will get to act on a 4 or better. And so I'm just going to start and go 1, 2. Well, actually, we need to think about the order we do this. This guy is going to fail. So he's just going to stop right there. Then this guy is going to try to move up. With a 5, he will. So we can bring him up, and he takes cover behind the bushes. Then this guy is going to fail his activation. And we have 4 more right down here that are interested in getting into position. So I'm going to roll for the 2 guys. Actually, these 2 guys are already in position, but they're a little far away. I'm going to start with this guy in the foreground, and then this guy over here behind the truck. So the guy in the foreground moves, and the guy behind the truck moves. The guy in the foreground, again, he only gets to move medium. We're going to bring him around to right here. So you can see he's right there hiding behind that rough ground, behind those bushes, I guess you could call it. And then this guy, I think we bring him to here, and we call that good. He's got some cover. We're going to want to get him across the street if we can. And then we have these 2 guys. I think we just stay. We're just going to leave them kind of hiding in ambush, and we're happy. I really like where they're at for shooting. Since the snipers didn't work last time, let's try the beat cops. I'm going to roll 1 activation. They only activate on a 4. So the first guy here, this guy that's pointing, he's actually got custody of the suspect. With a 6, he's going to be able to move over to here. He's trying to get out of line of sight, and he brings the other guy with him. That frees this beat cop up to try and make an activation, and on a 3, he's going to fail. He says, you go ahead. I'm just going to stand here. Now we got to try our sniper one more time. He's hiding out next to the greasy vent on top of the Taco Bell, and he's going to try to take 2 activations. This time he gets a 3 and a 6. Now he has a quality of 6. That does mean that here he is right here. That does mean he gets both activations. So he'll use the first activation to swing around and get ready to start throwing lead down into the streets. With his second activation, he's going to give an order to the SWAT team. With that order, the leader gives up one of his actions, but these guys can make 1 complete activation roll. Whatever the results are, they are all going to use. Now, because these guys are an actual SWAT team, they activate on 3s. Might as well roll all 3 dice. We get a 1, 2, and a 5, which means this would end the turn, but the turn was over anyway. All 4 SWAT team members now bust out of their vehicle, and that's going to be it for the cops. And again, playing it safe, I'm going to start with these 2 figures. This guy is not going to activate. This guy will activate. He can move up to medium. So he makes it about halfway across the street. He's going to be a little bit exposed, but I think he's okay with that. The guy in the yellow Aloha shirt attempts to activate, and on a 3, he's going to be able to move medium. That will put him right about here. Nice even spread for the Patriots. The guy in the purple is going to roll a 1, and he will fail to activate. That means the last guy that we have to go, that I really trust to go, maybe, I'm thinking maybe there's a couple of guys down here just waiting in the bushes. Maybe they should start opening fire on the squad car. If they can knock that squad car out of action, then that would force the cops to drag their boy into the SUV, which is a little outside the scope of the game, isn't it? Instead, the first thing I'm going to do is try to activate each of these 2 guys. The guy nearest the windows is going to activate, and then the guy in the purple is also going to activate. So we'll bring this guy up to the corner, hiding behind the bushes. And this guy, I think we just leave him right there in case the first guy falls. And now our leader gets to go. And this time I'm going to try to activate all 3 times. Remember, he activates on a 3. I wanted to pull that back. There we go. So he's going to activate on a 3 up. He gets a 1, 2, and a 5, meaning he gets a single action. And, man, I'm actually a little tempted to use that action to move. He's in the, I think we're going to move him up to here. I was thinking about taking a shot at at that cop over there, but instead I'm going to try to get around the corner because I think this other beat cop right here, he is swinging around the far side of the building. In fact, he's going to make a single activation check. And one, he's not going to get it, so he's going to stand down. This guy is also going to try to activate. With a 4, he will succeed. Where's my medium? And he's going to run up to the cab right here. And then our sniper is going to go. He has 2 possible activations. He activates on a 3 as before. And with a 1 and a 2, he's very confused. He doesn't understand what's going on. This is kind of a swingy game. So the SWAT guys don't know what's going on either. They don't know that there's been an ambush. They said, hey, bail out, go, go, go. And now they're the Secret Service guys, I guess. No, these are SWAT guys. Are just like really confused. This must be like not even the B team. It must be the C team. But the Red Hats will take advantage of that. In fact, the leader is going to try to take 2 activations of his own. He gets a 4 and a 6, so he will use his, well, first, he's going to use one of his actions to tell these guys, move, move, move. Get up here, block the line of attack. They're going to make their activation, and with a 1 and a 3, they're going to fail. Now, that does end the turn, but I think our leader... Oh, by the way, they are within medium. One of them is within medium. And if everybody is within a short distance of the guy that he's given the order to, they can still move. That ends the turn, but he does have his successful action, so he will use that to move medium, and he's going to take up position right by the squad car, right there. And now his turn ends as well, because these guys couldn't get a single activation. Which means the officer and the perp try to activate, they get it. Moving a medium will take them over to this point right here. They can sidle, I'm going to rule, they can sidle between the ice machine, see it right there, and the SUV there. I think that's within reason. Then we have to decide what to do with this officer right here and the sniper team. Again, sniper team trying to take 2 activations, finally get both of them. So they are going to save 1 activation for, now they've already earned that, so they get to spend that, but they're going to issue an order to these guys on their second action. And they're going to say, you guys go, go, go. So we'll do these guys first because I think they're just going to be moving a whole lot. And with activating on 3s, they're going to get 2 activations. That is a 1, 3, and a 4, meaning they all get to move medium. To save time, I just went ahead and measured, and we've got 1 SWAT team member over here by this Jersey barrier, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 over here, kind of behind the diner. I know you can't see him. He is also hiding behind, well, here, I'll just move. There you go. See, there he is. 1, 2, 3, and 4. But that's not it for the law enforcement personnel. Remember, our sniper has a second action, and he can take a shot at our leader down here. Now, this is a contested roll, so we're going to roll 2 dice. And I'm going to use the white die for the leader of the Red Hats, and I'm going to use the black die for the sniper. In the modern combat game, our sniper has a sniper rifle with a scope. Up to 2 medium. So there's 1 medium, and there's the second medium. There's no penalty. On the third, our sniper is going to be at -1. But he is a crack shot, which gives him +1 to his die roll. But he's firing from ambush. This is the first fire, very similar to Napoleonic. So he is now up to +2, because that's an additional +1 for that. Then, if he had a second action, he could aim and get an additional +1. Oh, I'm sorry. It actually gives a -1 to our boy down here, Mr. Red Hat. When you do firing combat, the target rolls a d6, adds his combat score. In this case, the leader of the Red Hats has a combat of 2. The firer, that's the sniper up here, does the same. He rolls a d6, adds his combat score of 3. Then he also adds 1 because he's firing from ambush. Red Hat didn't realize he was up there. First fire of the game. Now, he won't get that on future turns, but he is a +1 for right now. Then he is also at +1 because he is a crack shot. He's also at +1 because he's got a scope on his rifle. But what about range? And the range is not great. The range for that rifle is going to be long. Well, actually, it's great. Look at it. So we measure this. There's long to there, and then up to 2, there's no penalty. When you get to that third range band, then you're at -1. So altogether, we've got +1 scope. So is it 2 or 3 for his combat, +1 for the scope, +1 for the ambush, and I think that's it. So and for the crack shot. So he's at a total of +5 on the black die. Our leader here is at a +2. But if he's taken cover, and so we're only going to give him light cover, meaning the sniper has to win by 1. If the sniper, by more than 1. If the sniper wins by 1, we're going to treat it as a tie. Okay, so let's just roll, and I'll probably have to recalculate those. All right, this is not great at all. Result of a 3 versus a 9, 10 for the crack shot, 11, like 12. This is a complete doming. Kablam! He just completely takes out the leader, and not only does he take him out, it is an ugly kill. When you have an ugly kill, everyone within long distance of the ally that took the gory kill has to make a morale check. Now, that doesn't apply to anyone here. See, the nearest figures are well beyond long at this point. But everybody does still need to make a morale check because of the loss of the leader. For every figure on the table, we're going to make 3 die rolls. Now, they are fanatics, so remember their quality is normally a 4. It's going to be a 3 in this case. I'm going to start with the guy down here in the woods. For every failure, move 1 move towards the table edge. Now, as you can see, we've only got 1 success, and 2 moves is going to take him completely off the table. We are this close to the table. So if this guy here suffers any failures, we get a 3, 4, and a 6. He's fine. And then we've got 2 guys over here in the bushes, and they get, now these guys might actually be okay, because for every failure they make a full move. That's going to be medium. So he got a 1, 3, and a 5. That means he failed 1. He has to move to the nearest table edge, and we're just going to pull him back to here. The second guy is going to do the same. He gets a 6, 6, and a 1. He is also going to fall back a medium move. And then we've got 2 guys. Let's zoom in on this guy right over here. Actually, we have 1. Maybe we can catch him. There we go. Yeah. So we've got 2 guys here in front of the Taco Bell. And I'm going to roll for the guy in yellow first. Remember, any 1s and 2s, he's going to be okay. And then the guy in purple is going to get a 1, 2, and a 5. And as you can see, he is right at the edge of the table. So we're just going to go ahead and take him off. We're still not done with the officer's turn. We're going to try to move this officer. He's the last figure that hasn't gone. I might as well roll all 3 dice with a 6, 4, and a 2. We are going to be able to take 2 actions. We'll move him medium to here, and then we're going to open fire on this guy. Now, this officer is wielding a different weapon. So as you might imagine, it's got different capabilities. It has a short range because he's got a pistol. Let's see. Wait a minute. I actually moved him wrong. The thing with the movement in this game is that you touch the figure with the movement stick. I'm going to bring him up to here. That's really all the further we can bring him up. So if he's going to fire with his pistol, that's 1, 2, 3. He's going to be 4 away, and he's in cover. This is definitely a long shot. The Patriot gets a total of 3, whereas the police officer, that pistol has a combat skill of 1. The police officer has a combat skill of 2. So that is going to be a total of 5, 6, and then because he's firing at long range, that's -2, it becomes a 4. He only wins by 1, and because this red hat is behind the bush, winning by 1 is treated as a tie. I don't know if I mentioned it, body armor works the same way. That will end the turn, and now our Patriots get to go. The first order of business will be getting these 3 guys back into position. I'll roll for him first. I'm just going to take 1 activation. He's just going to stand there. This guy will not activate, and neither will he. They all have a quality of 4. That's the problem you face with these guys. Now, this figure is going to activate. We've only got 5 of them left on the table. And we'll slide our camera over. Now, he's at a distinct advantage in the game of shoot 'em up against this beat cop, because he is firing with an assault rifle, and he can try to make 3 activations. He gets a 3, 4, and a 4. With 2 activations, he can take his time. Oh, let me just slide. There you go. So there's your 3, 4, and 4. So he can take his time. He's going to use 2 actions to fire, and that will give the beat cop a -1 on his roll. So the beat cop is going to be at -1. I use black for the creep staters. Now he's going to be at +2, so we're a total of +1. We're at +3 because of the aim shot. You can move and shoot. I don't think he gets the +1 firing from cover. So particularly because we already said the cop was firing at him. So it's just going to be a total of, the assault rifle is going to have a combat of +2, meaning the white die is going to be a total of +4 versus +1 to the black. So that becomes a 7 versus a 4. And that is a win for the red hat, but he didn't double him up. So when you beat your opponent in combat, you look at the actual result of the die roll as a 3. This cop goes prone. It's a suppression, in other words. So that cop is going to have to spend an action to stand up. The last figure to activate might as well roll all 3 dice looking for 4s. He gets a pair of 5s. That's going to do it. So we'll move up medium, and he's not quite far enough. So he's going to have to use both actions to get into position right there behind the lamppost. Now the police get to go. And that means reinforcements are on the way. The beat cops do not have personal communicators. No opportunity for group moves here, but we are going to focus on the lead beat cop. We are looking for a quality of 4. And with a pair of 6s, we'll take it. He's going to be able to move to medium. We'll bring him up 1 and then 2. And we'll get him right up to the squad car with the fella that he is escorting. And then we need to run some interference. So the next most important thing, I think, is going to be this sniper and this red hat right here behind the trees. So this sniper is now going to try to take out the red hat. We're not going to mess around with any orders or anything like that. Sniper, it activates on a 3. We're going to roll 3 times. We're going to get a total of 3 activations. We're going to use 2 of those activations to open fire. And that's going to be an aimed shot, which means this guy behind cover is only going to be at a +1 for his die. The sniper, not firing from ambush anymore, but he does still have the scope. He does still have the I'm a big boy, so there's 1 long, 2 long, and then 3. So he's going to be at. So the range negates the scope, but he gets a total of, but he's still a marksman, and he still has 2 for the assault rifle. So it's going to be plus a total of 5 to the black die. 5 to the black die, 1 to the white. So a 6 versus an 8 means a win, and if the winner is on odd, this guy, who is already in cover, is going to duck. He becomes suppressed. With the last action, the leader can give an order to a group, but I don't have any groups. So instead, he's going to just kind of hang tight. I also should point out that if you roll a 1, I forgot about that. If you roll a 1 on your combat, your shooting roll, if you're the active shooter and you roll a 1, your gun runs out of ammo. You have to roll another d6, and on a second one, it's busted. You have to actually clear the jam. That's not the case here. We don't need to worry about that. But things are getting a little bit hectic. So let's roll 2 dice for each of our SWAT team members. They have 3 for their activation. I'm going to try to bring this guy in first. He's only going to get 1 activation, and because he has to hop over the Jersey barrier, he's only going to move short. He'll come up to here. Then I'm going to roll for this SWAT team member. He only gets 1 activation, and with that, he can move over to here. So he's taken up firing position. And then this guy by the Land Rover is only going to get a single activation. We'll bring him medium through here. Bring it in the backup. And then that last guy over here, he can move medium as well. I can drop this right next to him and touch him. So he's going to be coming up like so. That means the last activation that we need to do. Let's get these guys facing there. Wait, there's something like that, right? The last activation we have is that cop that went prone, and we saved him for last so we can roll 3 dice. He's got a quality of 4. He's going to be able to stand up, but that's all he's going to be able to do because he rolled a 1 and a 2 for the big whiffs. That's all he needs to do, though. Solid turn for the cops. It all pretty much comes down to this. I'm going to roll to activate this guy. He chooses not to. And then for these 2 guys, the guy on your left, he gets a 3. The guy on the right gets a 2. Still not interested. They only activate on 4s. And then this guy is going to be able to take a shot. He's going to take another shot at the cop over there that just stood up, trying to keep him suppressed. He's going to be at a total of 4. So this becomes a 9. And then the cop is going to be at a 6, 7, 8. So he wins by 1, but because the cop is behind cover... Oh, you can't even see that cop, can you? Here, let's bring it up. We're doing this combat way up here. So he fired at the cop, and he won by a single point, which means it's no effect because the cop is behind cover. And now it's time for the last gasp chance that the Red Hats have, and that's this guy down here. He has to activate 3 times. Well, we're going to try to activate him 3 times. He only gets 1. All he's going to be able to do is recover. So he stands back up from being dazed. And now we're going to roll 3 activations for this cop. He activates on a 4, so he's going to be able to spend 1 action to get the perp into the car. Second action, he gets in the car as well. And the turn is, let's see, 3, 4, 5. That cop has a quality 4. Okay. So Sniper is going to be able to take a shot at this Red Hat again. He's going to make 3 checks. He gets 3 actions. He's going to aim, which will turn this into a 0. And then this is going to be a 3, 4, 5, 6 for the combat skill. 7 for the scope. 8 for the crack shot. And you can see that we've tripled, and that's going to be, kapow, another boom headshot. Nobody is within, and it does triple them up, but none of the Red Hat allies are anywhere near there, so it's not going to make a difference. Then we'll do another round of firing on the part of, well, let's see. I think this SWAT guy can probably get up to right about here. We're going to try all 3 activations with our SWAT team member. He's going to get on a 3, 4, and a 6. He has, what has he got, an assault rifle? Yeah, so he can move and fire. So he's going to move to here, take cover behind the car, and that's going to be his first activation. He still has 2 actions left, meaning this Red Hat is only going to be at +1. The Red Hat scores a total combat score of 3. The SWAT guy, now this, he rolled a 1, so that means denada, and then so he's out of ammo. Now, interestingly, in the modern rules for Song of, you are assumed to be proficient with your weapon. He cannot fire again. Now, normally you can take 2 actions and you can fire twice. I don't do that a whole lot. The aim shot is so powerful, but if you wanted to, you could fire. And then, oh look, I got a 1. Well, I'm out of ammo. It takes an action. You can't fire for the rest of the turn, basically. Of course, this was his only shot, so it's not really going to affect him all that much, is it? Now we'll take a shot with this cop over here. That cop is going to get 2 activations. He's going to be able to fire an aim shot. Our Red hat gets a total of 1, and I gotta add up how many shorts we got here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So the composite -2. That negates his combat skill. He gets an additional +1. So that's going to be a 3 versus a 7. That is a doubling up. And when you double up, without trebling your opponent, it's the same rules as regular Song of out of action. It's not a gruesome kill. And I think that's really going to be about it for this turn. And I think that's probably going to be it for the game. The Red Hats are just not doing so hot. I don't think they have any way of stopping that squad car from moving on. As before, we've got a Red Hat over here. I'll roll twice. He finally decides to get in the game. He's going to be able to move up to here. And I guess he could attack the car, but I mean, I don't even know, man. I don't know what the point is. With small arms, you're not going to have much luck. I think the fact that they got him into the SWAT car means that it's all over. The next guy is going to get 2 activations, and the final, he'll use them both to move. And the final guy, look, now they finally decide to get their head in the game. So we're going to move these 2 guys that were kind of hiding behind the houses up to right there. And then it's going to be the cop's turn. Now, the reason I went through that little bit of song and dance is because I want to take a look at how vehicle movement works. We're going to roll all 3 dice because we're racing to get off the table. You roll just as before. It's a group movement, basically. Our guy has a quality of 4. He gets all 3. Oh, that's great. I'm glad he got all 3 activations because now cars might seem a little odd that they move the same medium as everybody else. But remember the way movement works. You put your stick down, and it has to move forward. Well, I'm actually going to use my first activation to move forward short. See, the car is there, and then the car is there. So you get all of the additional movement of the car, and then it can turn up to 45 degrees, you see? So my second medium move is going to bring the car up to here. And then we get to turn another 45 degrees. Now, you have to use one of your activations to move each turn, and if you get hit and you're stunned or whatever, then you have to use that activation to stop. That's all there is to it. So it's actually pretty simple to move the cars. There's a little bit of limitations to them. They do move a lot faster than people on foot, just by the nature of the base size. And of course, with that third activation, whoop, the suspect is going to be, they're going to go full Gitmo on him. They're going to ask him all kinds of nasty stuff. He was probably guilty of driving a car when a fat chick had a heart attack 6 feet away from him. Boy, that'd be awful, wouldn't it? Hey, so that's how modern combat works. And we had some really kind of wonky activation numbers today here in the city of Townsville. I took a long time to get this on the table because I don't much care for it, to be honest with you. There's a lot of, like, once your guys get into position, we saw a little bit of that here. You move a little bit, and then once you get into position, you're really just kind of like throwing lead back and forth at each other. It becomes very static, and it just becomes a series of roll-offs where you already kind of know what the numbers are. Okay, I'm a +4, you're at +2. Okay, now it's your turn. You're at +4, I'm at +2. Kind of back and forth. So not one of my all-time favorites, but I've had a lot of people ask to see how the game works. I think that doubling up of the ranges in this game before you get a penalty, as I said earlier, in normal Song of Blades and Heroes, a medium range, you get that far. And then once you're into that second range band, you're at -1. In this, because they're firearms, you get those 2 range bands before you start being penalized. I think it works really well for that. I'm actually, now that I've played it once, I'm actually kind of impressed. I might have to put together a more proper, and you can even, I don't think I mentioned this. I know I mentioned Stargate, but it does have some rules for pure science fiction in here as well. It gives you stats for science fiction weapons, such as, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. Stun pistols, low-speed needler carbine, spread. I didn't show you guys how auto fire works. We've got a shot from here to this guy. I didn't mention, you do need to fire at the nearest target, which is what pretty much everybody did this whole game anyway. So if this SWAT team member with an assault rifle fires on full auto at this guy, we roll the combat as usual, and oh look, he lost. But now, because he's on full auto, he can fire at this guy with a -1. In fact, you can continue firing. You have to fire at everybody within a short move, including potential allies. So if we had a beat cop over here that was trading shots, he would also, if he's within short range, get targeted. You have to roll a combat, and of course, friendly fire has morale penalties. But that's really all there is to that. So multiple combats with the same activation, kind of nice. You can concentrate fire. If we had a leader order these two guys, hey, both of you, fire at this fella over here. You're only going to make one combat roll for these two guys. Pick the worst one. Of course, they're the same, so it doesn't matter for us. But each of those additional firers reduces the combat skill of the target by 1. So that's where you say, oh, I've got a squad of, or a file, or a section, if you will, of 4 guys. -3 is a huge penalty to the die roll. You're probably going to do some damage, and at a minimum, you're probably going to force him to duck and cover. So that's where the suppressive fire comes in. And maybe that's my issue with the game, that I'm just not very good at modern games because I don't understand suppression. I mean, I understand on an intellectual level, but I just, on a rules level, I've just never been able to make it work. Maybe I just haven't found the right game. Well, tune in next time. We'll see if I find it next time. Until then, I'm praying for you.